It's week 2. We're here to go to start sit, and we've got plans. We've got lots of plans. We're going to be orchestrating all of these plans for everybody. Don't worry, we've got it figured out for you. These players are going to be at like 50, 60, 70, 80% start rate. We're ready for it. Here we go. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's week 2. It's part 1 of our sit start episode. It's Brian, it's Brendan, it's Too Much Fantasy Football on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. What's up, man? How we doing?
I'm just trying to come up with some concepts and some plans for our fans here to get, some, active starts, I would say.
Yes, we are. We're rolling into week 2 with so much to work with. I think it's the injuries that are catching me off guard today because, my goodness, it's nothing devastating, but it's enough to put us in a bit of a panic. I think most of the injuries are going to be on today's list. Today we're going to be covering Bills, Dolphins, Raiders, Ravens, Chargers, Panthers, Saints, Cowboys, Bucks, Lions, Colts, Packers, Browns, Jags, 49ers, and Vikings. If that's not enough for you folks, I don't know what is. You ready to jump into it?
Let's do it.
Woo! Starting us off, it is the Bills at Dolphins. We've got to dive into this game. It's Thursday night. It's tomorrow night if you're watching us when we drop this. Otherwise, it's tonight for you. Where are you feeling? All alarms going off with the injuries here. Mostert's not playing. Achane is game time decision.
Sounds like Achane's going to be like a full go from what the beat writers said. That he was at limited practice, but like he was able to participate in all the drills. So they said that he didn't look like gingered or anything by his ankles. So I expect Achane to be the full go, and I think Jeff Wilson will probably be the fill-in for Mostert. But I do expect Jalen Wright to get maybe some touches, but he will be activated if I had to guess. But I feel pretty confident rolling out Achane, and they definitely need him. He's been a big part of their game plan. So I like the chances with Achane. Unfortunately, sorry, Mostert people, he's just not going to play this week.
Yeah, Achane is one of those, if he's good to go, you have to put him out there. It only takes him a quarter for him to blow up and go out there. The line has moved from 49 to 48.5. Miami actually went from 1.5 point favorites to 2.5 point favorites. So it's weird how Mostert going away kind of improves their win streak. But both these teams struggled a bit last week. Do you see them kind of getting in their groove a little bit more this week?
It looked like the week 1 yips for both sides. Like, obviously, like Josh Allen had a really slow start in the first half against the Cardinals defense. Miami looked really, really sluggish in the first half as well, and they finally got it, clicking. It's a divisional game. I expect it to kind of be, a barn burner fight. I definitely like the under in this one. I know it's, exciting with two, high flying offenses, but for whatever reason, these two teams face each other. It actually comes down, pretty close to the wire most games. Sometimes they take the lead at the end, but like, for me personally, like on the Dolphins side, like you're gonna start Tua if you have him. Tua looked great last week. Jalen Waddle looks good. Obviously, hopefully doesn't see the tent again this week. Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, and I guess you can start Jeff Wilson in a pinch. On the Bills side, for me, it's pretty simple. It's Josh Allen, it's James Cook, it's Dalton Kincaid, and I guess Keon Coleman. He didn't look too bad. He led the team in targets, so I got to kind of roll with it.
That was the one I was going to throw out there. Curtis Samuel, and if you're in a deep enough league, I can see him being a flex-worthy play, but in most of your 12-10 team leagues, probably not. And Coleman's probably going to be the answer. It looks like they're going to try and feature them. He didn't look great in the preseason, so I think this is why everybody was a little cooled off on him, but I do think you can kind of put him out there with wide receiver 3 expectations. Obviously touchdown upside with the Bills each and every week. Who do you have taking this game?
If I had to guess, I'm leaning towards the Bills, honestly. I think the Bills actually go into Miami and beat them.
You know what? Both of these teams struggled, and I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I think they're going to take the game at home, but I can see these two teams splitting for sure this season.
I was going to ask one question, though, for you.
What's up?
Khalil Shakir, where are you at with him?
As in like a startable piece or like even on the roster. I will say I've got him on Dynasty roster, so I'm hoping I can get a little bit more out of him. At this point, we really haven't. I don't feel comfortable starting him at this point, but I also like there's no reason you can't punt him at this point too. For certain waiver wire picks, depending on like who you're looking at, I can see letting him go at this point.
Fair enough. My rule is when in doubt, Thursday out. So.
Oh yeah, playing him this week. Yeah, it's really hard to look at right now.
Yeah.
Next game we have is the Raiders at Baltimore. They're playing the Ravens. This game looks really easy on the right side. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, you're starting. Isaiah Likely is going to be the big start question, though. Are you willing to double flex tight ends if you picked him up with a another viable asset?
I have Mark Andrews in a few redraft leagues, and like I didn't even go for Isaiah Likely. I'm not going to like try to get his backup or anything else like that. And I get Isaiah Likely look good in that regards. It's just I think I drafted Mark Andrews to be a top 5 tight end, and I expect to be a top 5 tight end. He was bracketed in all the coverages against the Chiefs, and they always play him tough. So I expect Mark Andrews, actually have some positive regression in this game, and I actually expect obviously Isaiah Likely to have some regression in this one as well. Just I don't expect him to have 9 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. If he does that again, then I'm an idiot. We're all idiots, and we should have drafted Isaiah Likely over Mark Andrews.
Yeah, when we really dug into it, we saw the advanced metrics. Mark Andrews really shined. They had him well covered. The Chiefs have done that in the last 5 games. They've really kept Mark Andrews contained. And Isaiah Likely, it was all dump offs, a lot of dump offs. His really big play was all yak. It was after he got the ball, broke a tackle, and went down the field. So I'm okay starting him in certain leagues because if they keep at the 12 personnel that they were running, I believe it was over a 50% rate, which higher than anybody did last year. If they can keep that up, I'm okay with starting him, and I'm excited to see what that is. Isaiah Likely or Brock Bowers?
Brock Bowers.
Colby Parkinson.
Isaiah Likely.
Pat Freiermuth against Denver?
Isaiah Likely.
Okay, cool. The other side of the ball, that one's a lot worse. Minshew, probably don't want to be starting him even in Superflex. Devontae Adams, you have to start him for where you took him. Probably low into wide receiver expectations with that boom game always looming. Brock Bowers, tight end 1. I think we just kind of covered that. You're pretty in on him?
Yeah, I've been on Brock Bowers this week.
Awesome. Well, you got 40 seconds. Break down this running back room because I think...
I don't want to. I really don't want to break down this running back room. I was really like, oh boy. You drafted Zamir White in hopes to be a flex play, and it looks like it's, for whatever reason, that dude just ran into his offensive lineman's backs the entire time. And then Alexander Madison just spelled him because he could actually catch the ball in the backfield, and that was the reason why he was out there more. So, like, I expect Zamir White to be out there first, and if Zamir White can't get it done, then I expect Alexander Madison to fill in and then actually play for majority of the snaps because he can catch the ball in the backfield. So it looks like Zamir White might be already the early bust of the year.
I'd still be willing to play him this week as that running back 3 kind of flex option, just what you have invested in him. Alexander Madison, if you're in a pinch and you have to, but that one is that's...
I would avoid it at all costs.
The back end's puckered up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. It is where we got Chargers at the Panthers. Can this game be good? Please, can it be good? Panthers, you got to give us something this year. Over-under's 38.5. The Chargers are favored at 6.5 points right now, just shy of a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins, obviously, we're starting.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, more of a streaming style quarterback, but you're hoping you don't have to start him. The wide receivers, though, that's where the question is because I'm not touching the tight ends. Palmer, McConkey, QJ.
I mean, you're starting Ladd. It seems like him and Herbert are starting to kind of connect there a little bit. I think he'll fill in that Keenan Allen role. So I think for PPR purposes, he'll be excellent there. Josh Palmer is still a wait and see. Hopefully he doesn't get into a fight again this week and can play out the rest of the game. But yeah, I also think Gus Edwards is still somewhat startable. I know that like J.K. Dobbins was obviously, the breadwinner last week in that regards, but they actually split, I think, in attempts. They were pretty even. So I think Gus Edwards on the goal line will still be, I think you're hoping for a touchdown, and I still think the Chargers are still going to try to run the ball as many times as they did last week. So
for what we were looking for out of Gus Edwards, this is the type of game that we were expecting him to pay dividends. A game where they are heavily favored, a game that they should be able to score on the Panthers because with the absence of Brian Burns, it sounds like Derek Brown, I believe, is a little shaken up after this week
he might be
one
done for the year.
So this defense, this front seven is going to be bad, very, very bad. You should be able to run on them. So Gus Edwards, I feel like, should have a bounce back week. If you don't feel comfortable starting with him, I get that, but I wouldn't drop him yet for some of those guys we talked about yesterday. On the other side of the ball, though, Chuba Hubbard, You sniffing that? You even sniffing it just a little bit?
Yeah, you might need to in a flex spot. It's not a terrible idea.
If they are going to be down and not favored in this game, I could see how Chuba Hubbard may get a little work. But Miles Sanders came out there and said, "Hey, everybody that thought I was going to be dropped by today, watch this." I was one of them. Deontay Johnson, he was not looking like Deontay Johnson. Alan Thielen might have looked like the best overall receiver, and Leggett was the one featured. Make sense of this for me, please.
I just think Bryce Young looked really rough in that start against the Saints. And like I said, Deontay Johnson actually had 33% target share. I know he only caught the ball a few times, but like I still think Deontay Johnson's the best receiver on that team. They need to somehow feature him like a Keenan Allen-esque type role.
Yeah, I'm holding on Deontay Johnson. I'm not freaking out yet. I have made moves this week in some of my leagues to see if I can flex other players, but Deontay Johnson, I'd still be willing. And Leggett, I think he needs to be owned at this point, just to see if they are really trying to just force him the ball and feature him some more.
Yeah, I'm starting Deontay Johnson as my wide receiver 3 in some leagues, so I still have faith.
I do too. I have too high of an exposure to him for him not to be good. It's
yeah, I'm right there with
bad.
you.
I'm scared, a little scared. But the next game should garner some points. We've got the Saints at the Cowboys. Over/unders 46.5 points. Dallas again favored by 6.5 points. We're seeing a little bit of a pattern here over the last few games.
For me personally, I think the Cowboys are actually going to dog walk the Saints. I think this is actually going to be a bad game for the Saints. I know the Saints just came off a great win over the Panthers. I just don't think the Panthers are a good team. I expect the Cowboys to pass a little bit more in this game than they did last week. I expect C to finish as the wide receiver 1 this week, as the wide receiver 1.
Brandon Cooks, he was a topic on the waiver wire episode we did yesterday. Is he in consideration with Jake Ferguson down? Or I guess where in consideration would he be?
I mean, like, he's not a bad wide receiver 3 play this week. Jake Ferguson's supposed to play. It sounds like Jerry Jones says he should be good to go. I would just be really, really, optimistic on that if he does. I don't know if I'd start Jake Ferguson this week.
I got a fun game for me, not so much for you. Lad McConkey, Deontay Johnson, and Brandon Cooks. Put them in order for me. And Deontay Johnson.
I go Lad, and then I go Brandon Cooks, and I go Deontay Johnson, sadly.
Oh, my goodness, that hurts. That hurts my
Yeah.
best ball exposure right there. That's a bad one. All right. Other side of the ball, I feel like this Cowboy side's pretty easy with the big 3 or big 4. Zeke's still startable. Is Dowdle? Where are you at on Dowdle?
It's still a hold. I'm going to kind of wait and see. You took him super late in the draft and just kind of see if he actually might be the person like they said he would be. But Zeke had more touches, I believe, last week. So I'm just kind of holding on Dowdle. He's still getting some run. It's not all Zeke. But yeah, Zeke's not a bad start, though. I mean, you're just hoping for the goal line carry, and that's what you kind of drafted him for, is just kind of fall in the end zone.
Camaro's looking like a QB2 this week. Or, I'm sorry, Carr's looking like a QB2 this week. Camaro's looking like an RB1. He only had 5 targets, caught all 5 of them. He should get closer to 10 this week. Like you said, they're going to get boat race. This is going to look ugly. He should have plenty of room. Olave and Shaheed, they ran a lot of 12 personnel. So that means we had 2 wide receivers out there, which is good. Consolidate some targets a little bit. I think a bounce back week for Olave's on the cards, and Shaheed's always going to be a flex option for you.
Yeah, I expect Olave to get, some decent, obviously positive regression. We really needed it for all the Olave drafters out there. But I expect him to have, hopefully anywhere from 5 to 7 receptions this week, healthy amount of yards. I mean, we all really need it, though, where we took Olave, so.
No kidding. Cowboys winning this one.
Yeah, I like them, and I think they're covering the spread, too.
Unfortunately, no fun. Next up, Bucks at the Lions. Here we go. It's lots of fun here. Not exactly important to us fantasy players, but it is. They're going to be missing, 2 players out of the secondary we were talking about before the game? Or before we...
Yeah, they're missing both cornerback 1 and 2 and both starting safeties. Antoine Winfield's going to miss some time, too. So the Lions should absolutely be able to throw the ball because regardless of Tampa Bay secondary, their front 7 is really, really good. So they will stop the run. They'll at least attempt to try to stop the run. But yeah, I expect Amon-Ra to have a huge bounce back game. Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams, I think is actually startable this week just because They really don't have a secondary, so
And they proved that they wanted to get him involved. They talked about it all offseason. I think Jared Goff should have a bounce back. I know the dome rumors were all over the place this offseason, so everybody's really excited to start him week one if you kind of punted the quarterback position. So I see a bounce back. Detroit is favored by 7 points in this 51.5 point over under. As far as the line side, Jared Goff, Gibbs, Montgomery, St. Brown, Laporta are all auto starts. We're talking JMO. We're feeling pretty good about that. Probably what high end wide receiver 3 with upside.
yeah, I'd say like high end wide receiver 3 flex spot is where you start him if you have a consideration. Just you chasing the over under points, so this is someone I'd consider starting.
Cool. Baker Mayfield, I like starting him as well. If this game's going to be high, if they're going to be going back and forth, I think that he showed you last week that last year wasn't a fluke. Baker, talk about them Browns crying over a mistake. You could have 3 draft picks, first overall draft picks in Baker Mayfield if you just would have.
I don't blame the Browns for doing that. Like Baker should have sat out that year when he tore his labrum. But like, on the other end of it though, is just like, man, it's just rough watching that for Cleveland because they just gave up on him a little too soon, and I just couldn't be any more happier that it happens for such a wonderful person named Deshaun Watson.
Right. On the side of just how many teams have sitting at 80-90% of a championship and don't do anything aggressive. So like you have to credit the Browns for doing something, but just like the Niners, you did something super aggressive and it just came back to bite them in the butt. Baker though, we're starting him up. Rashad White,
yes,
we're still starting him. It's gross to see what's happening there. I don't like it.
I know Bucky Irving had really good runs, but Rashad White's bread and butter was the receptions game, and he had plenty of them. So like you're still going to keep starting him. Like there was no signs they're like leaning towards Bucky's getting more like run. They liked what he did last week. He got the touches they wanted, and so I expect Rashad White to get the same amount of touches plus receptions. So I think they're going to actually coexist with one another just fine.
I'm nervous to see what happens there. I'm glad I don't have a whole lot of exposure, so fingers crossed everybody else it works out for him. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, wide receiver 2s with upside.
Yes.
Yeah. Who do you have winning this one?
I have the Lions, and I have the Lions covering the spread.
Oh, 7 points. Sorry, Baker. Not this week. Next up, we have the Colts at the Packers. Yeah, we're so excited for it. The Pack. Someone's going to call us Packer fans here. I don't know what slip that was, but Colts fans here rocking the home team. We're loving it. The away team. Brian, what are you doing? Dropping the ball. I'm so excited. 40.5 point over under. Indy's favored by 3. Malik Willis seems to be getting the start. What Packer do you... Okay, start off. What Packer do you start? Josh Jacobs and...
Jaden Reed. You are starting Jaden Reed.
How comfortably?
Fairly comfortable. We have so we're biased here because we're Colts fans, but we don't have a secondary right now. We just lost Drew Brents for the
season.
Yeah,
the season. We get to have to talk about that. Oh man.
Yeah. So Malik Willis might have a career day just because our secondary is so bad.
Oh man. Jaden Reed or DK Metcalf?
Oh, DK for sure. DK has a bounce back week.
Amari Cooper or Jaden Reed?
Jaden Reed. I don't believe in Deshaun Watson.
Zay Flowers or Jaden Reed.
I could see like Raiders game being I'll go Zay Flowers, and it's closer than you think.
Either way,
I think
Jaden
Reed is just talented. I think Jaden Reed is just super talented. I think they're going to do a lot of end arounds, a lot of jet sweeps, screens. They know that they have to get him the ball because once they get him the ball, he can make things happen. That's why.
Yeah, I agree. He's talented enough. It looks like he's fitting in there right around that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 zone, even with the Malik Willis, who I guess kind of segue over to the Colts here. Their DST might be the best play on the board. I know those Packers. They're talented. They're well coached, but Malik Willis, it only takes one. It only takes one, and the Colts are really good at turning the ball over. So they are one of my favorite streaming defenses this week. Thoughts?
I'm just biased, so I'm avoiding it like the plague because I just think whatever reason Malik Willis just might have a career day against us. But again, I'm biased, so I'm trying to put that bias aside.
Anthony Richardson, do you think he has what it takes to bring in another QB1 week?
Yes, Anthony Richardson should be a QB1 again.
JT, I'm pretty excited about him this week. I think he he should get quite a bit of work despite the Packers holding Saquon Barkley to. Oh wait, no, they didn't. So JT, I'm pretty excited. He should have a bounce back week after last week. Just the touchdown's what saved him. He didn't get a whole lot of work, which they didn't get a lot of work in the passing game either, only completing 9 passes. But when you average 40 yards on 45 yards,
nine passes for 210 yards, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he's that's the bad thing with Richardson is they may run less plays than we saw last year just based on the Colts' tendency to run in 3 and out or big scores. Pittman's the only one I want to start.
Yeah, like Alec Pierce, I get it, he had the connection, but I just think that like he'll be getting like those one big bomb plays or 2 big bomb plays a game and you're just hoping he falls in the end zone, so I really don't want to do that. But Adonai Mitchell is someone I really want to pick up. Like his separation was crazy and he ran, I think he had the top speed, he had the fastest top speed of the week this week over like guys like Devon Achane and Tyreek Hill, so like that's really interesting to see. But I'm going to call the Packers upset the Colts this week.
Oh God, you're no fun. I'm taking the Colts to win it. AD Mitchell, for me, as we, I talked about a little bit yesterday, he's the guy I want to own. Alec Pierce, he'll have 2 of those games a year, but he is just he's just extra in fantasy football. He's not a part of the team. Sorry. Browns at the Jags. You said the Packers. That's right. I just blanked it out of my mind because I didn't believe you could be that much of a traitor.
Sorry.
Browns at the Jags. 2 teams that just weren't inspiring enough. Jags a little bit more than the Browns were last week, but this game, do you think we get moving? 41.5 point over under. Jags are favored by 3.
I like the under and I like the Jags, so we can start with the Jags side though. Travis Etienne should get a lot more work this week. Doug Peterson said in a conference they need to feed him the ball. He's the guy. So I know Tank Bigsby was kind of picked up in the waiver wires, and I think he will get worked into this offense, but they definitely want Travis Etienne to still be the guy. Brian Thomas Jr. looks like to be the wide receiver 1 and looks like to be the steal of the draft for most people. That dude looks really, really good. Where you at with Christian Kirk, though?
I am still holding on Christian Kirk. I don't think I haven't made any moves as far as waivers went last night. I didn't drop him anywhere, but I am nervous. I'm definitely nervous. I'm more playing him as a wide receiver 3 with upside. I do think that he can be a kind of the touchdown guy on the team because Ingram clearly doesn't like to be that. And Brian Thomas Jr., I just need him to slow down just a little bit. Just a little bit. I've got a pretty even exposure across the 2, so if he can just share the wealth some. Gabe Davis doesn't need anything. He is almost dead in the water as far as fantasy football goes to me. So, I'm playing Kirk as a 3, Thomas as a 2.
Gabe Davis or Christian Kirk?
Christian Kirk.
Okay.
Christian Kirk has the floor. Gabe Davis has... does he have a ceiling? I don't know. I don't even want to say he has a ceiling. What about the Brown side? Christian Kirk or Amari Cooper? No, that was Amari Cooper. That's just the talent there is unreal. But Jerome Ford just playing as a running back 2. Amari Cooper, a low-end wide receiver 2. He's got upside. At any given play, Deshaun Watson can get hurt. It almost looks like he's trying to kickstart some sort of injury clause in his contract. Because let me just tell you, folks, we're not hoping he gets hurt. But if he does, like he does, Jameis Winston
time.
It's Jameis time.
Oh,
and if it's Jameis
everyone
time,
is rooting for this. Everyone is just rooting for Jameis to come play because you just know that him, Amari Cooper, David Njoku are it's just gonna go bananas. It'll be 2 interceptions a game, but it'll be 2 touchdowns for 250 yards, and it'll be so exciting.
Bring us Jameis. We want Jameis.
We do want Jameis for fantasy football. I'm sure Cleveland wants him just in general too.
Yeah, Njoku's hurt, so. Clearly, we're not touching that.
Yeah.
We're not playing the tight end there. So, yeah. Amari Cooper, you're just kind of playing on principle of just his talent, his target
Draft
share that
capital.
he should see. Yeah. Who's winning?
Let me ask you this. Xavier Worthy or Amari Cooper this week?
Ooh. Xavier Worthy or Amari Cooper. The Bengals looked pretty garbage. 47.5 over. Yeah, give me Xavier Worthy.
Okay. I had the Jags
Xavier
winning
Worthy.
and covering the spread.
Yeah, I had them covering the spread against Miami last week. I thought they were going to be able to finish it. Clearly, they didn't, but, let's go Jags.
Yeah.
Let's surprise this year.
Oh, gross. Don't say that again.
Unbiased. Come on. We got to
right.
act
Fair
a
enough.
little bit. Last game we're going to cover here is the 49ers at the Vikings. 45.5 point over under. 6.5 points favorites is the Niners. I don't get why. Sam Darnold's got the revenge game. He already showed last week why he is the greatest streaming quarterback this year. Jordan Addison's probably out. We've got some issues in this game. Christian McCaffrey, as of when we're recording this midday Wednesday, it looks like CMC could be out again.
Doesn't matter. Jordan Mason looks really good, so fit in that role really well. I think what the 6.5 points is, I think San Fran's defense is legit because, like, I thought the Jets' offense wasn't bad. It's just I think San Fran just was smothering them anything they try to do. So, and I know they have Justin Jefferson on their side, but I think San Fran's just going to hone in on Justin Jefferson and try to eliminate him because that's what the 49ers did. They took away Breece Hall. They made sure that he was not involved in the running game. So
I will say San Francisco had the luck of being able to play against the Jets OC. He's not a smart man, but it's just not one of those situations that I just kind of want to give.
Rodgers' good friend, Nathaniel Hackett, okay? How dare you speak ill of him?
Oh, you mean the guy that got fired after his first year, the head coach for the Broncos?
Okay, but was that really his fault or was it Russell Wilson's fault? Let's let that, like, what came first, the chicken or the egg on that one?
Well, we still don't know if it was Russell Wilson's fault because he hasn't played this year to show us that he was bad.
That's
true. Let's ride. That's what I'm talking about. CMC, Mason, whoever's starting, we're playing them. Debo, you're still starting. Ayuk, you're still starting. Kittle, you're starting. Jefferson is without Addison. Yeah, no Addison, no Hawkinson. Who else is there to get the ball? So Jefferson could just absolutely just eviscerate Jones, though. I think he's still a flex. He got into the end zone.
Yeah.
It's not pretty, but I think the beginning of the year we're going to see him being utilized a lot until his body just won't let
The Giants were bad. I'm still not a Jones believer, and I don't think Jones is a good game this week because obviously the 49ers will probably stop the run pretty well and then try to get him involved in the passing game. I think this is going to be a bad week for Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, bad game. Words have never been spoken before. Dude, I don't know. Najee Harris against Denver or Aaron Jones?
Oh, I guess Aaron Jones just because like they really want to play him a lot and not Ty Chandler, which I don't get, but I'll
Jerome Ford against Jacksonville.
Aaron Jones still like I don't believe in Cleveland until something changes.
DeAndre Swift, Houston.
You're getting somewhat warmer, but I'm still leaning Jones, sadly.
Grossness. That's what we're bringing to you, folks. The grossness. All right, we got to get out of here. That is all we're going to have for today's episode. Come back tomorrow about the same time, and we will hit you with part 2, the remaining 8 games. Until then, Brendan, tell the folks where can they find you, what you up to?
You can find me on X at FFAMBMolk and then the Facebook group page at Fantasy Football Advice Network.
Oh, and me, this one over here, I can be found at @too_much_Brian on the app formerly known as a Twitter. Twitter? Is that what it was called? It's been so long. Tweeter, yes. But until then, we're going to get ourselves
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com.